Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another suggestion here. This one based on one of your new ones. This one having to do with a creature that is found there in Wales that is apparently very dangerous. Definitely something that you'll want to avoid. I mean, when you consider the fact that this thing can eat you alive, basically eat you in one big gulp, and then there you are just being digested for who knows how long afterward, while you're alive, of course. This definitely makes for a bad experience. But all around, a pretty dangerous creature. It has some dangerous attributes to it too. More on that here in a minute. In fact, you're looking at a representation of it now. Has a very distinct name too. It's known as the water leaper. So let's go ahead and let's share all this fascinating info associated with this mythological creature. And who knows, maybe it's still out there roaming to these days. So what is this water leaper? Well, it actually has another very distinctive name. I'm guessing this is a native language, like in its actual language itself of Wales, but it's known as the Lamhigian Waidwar. I'm probably saying that 100% wrong, but I think it's said Lamhigian Waidwar, but again, for simpler sake, we'll call it the water leaper here. And the reason why it's called the water leaper is because it's actively using its attributes, the very same characteristics of it, to be able to jump, if you will, within the water as it attacks its prey. So very distinctive name, but it's all tied to how it acts. First, let's talk about its physical characteristics here. If you mishmash a frog with potentially something along the lines of a snake, but with a scorpion's end and then having bat-like wings, that's essentially what you have here. It's essentially a limbless frog or toad that is larger than usual, has a very long snake-like tail, but at the end of that tail, there's a very deadly stinger on there, and it has these very large membranous wings, these wings that it uses to quote-unquote fly from one place to another. And that's what you have here with this water leaper. Interesting, right? Like it's basically taking a whole bunch of animals, mixing it in a soup, and then whatever pours out, that's essentially what you have here. And the reason again why it's called a water leaper is because of this. Its primary residence is there in the water. In fact, you can find it in locations such as swamps and lakes and rivers and ponds. Makes sense, right? Because so many of its characteristics, especially with it being a toad or a frog, you would think that yes, it's going to be there within the water. So it lives there, and in most cases it seems to live underneath the water. But when it finds its prey and it's ready to essentially do its attack, that's when it uses its wings to instantly leap across the water. It might even use its tail, almost like in the form of a coil, to push itself, but otherwise it uses mainly those giant wings to create that vertical loop, that vertical jump, or that arching jump, and then bam, that's when it hits its prey. Its prey can consist of multiple things. It apparently does not have limitations to this. It, of course, attacks other water animals like fish, and then also it attacks anyone that's nearby the water, like sheep and other type of cattle that happen to be grazing and drinking from this refreshing source. And then also, get this is why it's dangerous to humans, it can attack people, i.e. fishermen who happen to be around that location too. So this is definitely a creature that you probably think that it's just a regular frog, regular toad. It's probably using that as a very stealth-like tactic too, where it has just the top part of its body consisting of the regular toad/frog appearance, make it seem like it's just your average toad or frog, and so you're not going to blink at it twice. But whenever that happens and you turn your back or you're moving your canoe somewhere else, that's when it uses it to its advantage, and then it'll strike. That stinger is apparently very, very dangerous. In fact, so dangerous that one single strike and that's it. You're dead. Whatever poison it has within that stinger, it's supposed to be very venomous, and it'll also create some kind of blood-curdling screech as it does its attack. So not only is it going to use the force the way it propels itself to kind of like knock people out almost, but it's probably going to create a very frightful experience hearing that type of screech happening. Frogs and toads already have those crazy sounds that just sound otherworldly. So imagine something like this doing this, and then that's where it'll be, of course, a whole other level. But yes, it's been known to use this attack on fishermen. In fact, whenever that happens, it can also use its tail to essentially grab fishermen and then bring them on down the line. It even uses the very same fishing line that fishermen have, probably even making them think that they have something big, right? Like they've caught something wonderful and they can't wait to reel it up. But no, it latches onto that fisherman line and then it brings the fisherman down right into the sea. And then that's where things take another huge worse turn. Remember I was mentioning earlier about being eaten alive? That's what this thing does. It uses this giant mouth to essentially grab that prey, grab that poor fisherman, and then it swallows it whole. What a way to go. What a horrible way to end your life right there. You're stuck inside this creature's acidic stomach for who knows how long, no way to escape, and then you're slowly being dissolved, if you will. Talk about a really, really bad way to go. But yeah, that's essentially what this creature does. It'll use its environment. It'll use the water itself, probably its stealth-like tactics involving its usual appearance, its nonchalant, non-dangerous front type appearance from the frog/toad, and then it strikes at that point. Luckily, though, it seems like there's ways to get around it. Just don't be around that water, around those swamps or lakes that I mentioned earlier there in Wales. So if you were able to at least steer clear of those areas, then you're good. No indications that it moves necessarily onto dry land, or if it does anything else, like in terms of attacking people in cities. Even though it has those giant bat-like wings, again, it doesn't seem to have any flying capabilities to move in far locations outside of the water itself. One last thing too, apparently its sight alone, when people see it, it's so bad, it's supposed to cause people to die on the spot. I don't necessarily know about that 100%, like how real that is, but it probably is the fact that whenever you see something unusual like this, people will probably stop in their tracks almost as if they were just stunned to death right then and there, because they're wondering just what the hell they're looking at. But that's it. That's essentially the water leaper that they're taking a gaze at. But yeah, otherwise, no more information associated with it. Nothing else in terms of even current sightings. Whatever happened to it as far as it being within Wales for so long that it was part of their mythologies and folklore, it seems like it's gone. No modern sightings. So who knows? Maybe it's truly gone. Maybe it was hunted or it went extinct on its own. But we'll see if maybe it makes another appearance soon. But that's pretty much it. That's all the information associated with this water leaper. Anybody there from the Wales area? Anyone know more local info? If so, please post those comments below. I always love to hear that. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.